opening up the key change, the keyhole, and just looking outside. I'm like, no.
So then you get into the whole industry of like adult films. Was it what you expected doing your first scene? So you had me doing moonsaults off the top rope.
Oh my God.
Having implants.
I feel like I know things somewhere. Why?
Why not?
I mean, I thought about it for a long while before I did it. I mean, I got a lot of uproar from the whole industry, but who are they to judge me?
Yeah, I mean, what are they?
They can all go to hell. They don't pay my bills.
No, you got a point.
And that's that.
Hi, happy Monday. This is this new thing called background music, and I've paused it because it just doesn't work. But hi, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Off the Rails with Jasmine St. Clair. And if you are enjoying my YouTube station, please be sure to subscribe. And if you like my podcast, Crazy Train, make sure to subscribe to it on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, like wherever else they they do things. They play podcasts. Hi, Extraneous. Hi, Giuseppe. I see a few people, some new faces in here. Yes, Rob, how are you? Paul Corbin, hello. John J. First of all, I would like to give a... Oh, hi, Michael, how are you? I wanted to... hi, Ben. ¿Cómo estás? Thank you very much for the birthday gifts I did receive so far. I would flash them up here, but the perfume I got from Paul Corbin is on my dresser. The little earring displays that I have are already set up with earrings, and the shot glasses are in a box. They haven't been opened yet. But yes, it is Monday. It is the beginning of the week, and you guys have been extremely patient whenever I decide to go on these little trips and so forth. But I'm saying this now, there will not be an episode of Off the Rails next Monday because I will be on tour with Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Monday, we will be in Boise, Idaho. Tuesday in Reno, Nevada. Thursday, I think, Riverside, California. And then after that, it's Colorado. I don't have all my dates up, but maybe because I'm like partially asleep. It's been a really long day, which reminds me, if you are in the market for some amazing black coffee to amp up your day, your morning, or to stay awake, hop on over to supermassiveblackcoffee.com. That is supermassiveblackcoffee.com. Punch in the code MBN for 20% off. This stuff is amazing. I drink it myself. I love it. And that's it. So yes, moving right along. So a lot of you may know Lou Nixon from wrestling, GCW, XPW, and of course he's all over the UK. And let's not forget, he's got like major Conor McGregor vibes going on. So I know a lot of people know him for that. Some people might have actually mistaken him for Conor McGregor, but he's not Conor McGregor. Nowadays in pro wrestling, there are companies you work at that are toxic and some that are not. And it's not so much the people that are in the company, like your coworkers. It's just an environment that's built up. So we're obviously going to compare notes about XPW when we talk about toxic. Non-toxic would be like GCW, JCW, companies like that, where you actually have a professionally run company with professionals, running this. So I'm very happy Lou took the time out of his day or his night, morning, whatever it is, to hop on board. It's like 1:30 in the morning over there. So I'm just waiting for him. I know you guys see me looking down at my phone. It's just to make sure that he has not messaged me saying, hey, there's a problem, because that does happen now and again. In case you have not caught up on all of the content, all of the videos and so forth on this page, please make sure to go through it because there's a lot of stuff on here. And if you've not caught up to the episodes of Crazy Train podcast, please go ahead, hop on over to Crazy Train, Crazy with a K, Crazy Train with Jasmine St. Clair, and just, I don't know, go from the beginning. I usually take about a month off because sometimes I get burnt out from podcasting, but I do have some guests coming up very soon that we have set up interviews for, and I just have to, schedule things in. It's just been very tiring between traveling and so forth. And then I come home and all I want to do is work out, and that's a super important thing that I feel is one of these things we kind of forget about, is just working on yourself, no matter what it is. I don't understand the whole, hey, it's New Year's, let's go ahead and do our resolutions and join a gym. And I think gyms make a lot of money then. The truth is, if you want to be your best you or do better with your life, that is when you could do it, any day of the week. Hi, Rob Yunkin. Yes, I'm glad you'll be catching up with everything in the morning during your first shift. I'm not sure what you do as a first shift. If you don't mind telling us, that would be interesting. I like to kind of know what goes on in people's lives, not so much to the point where it's overbearing and creepy, because that's kind of creepy when you become overbearing, right? It's like a single white female syndrome. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so Rob works with special needs and handicapped children. Okay, yeah, we had this conversation. So here's a bit of, so you work at AG. What is AG? A hospital. Okay. All right, that's got to be interesting. And what department in the hospital do you work at, sir? I used to work teaching French to children of incarcerated parents. Most of their parents were Black Panthers. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with what Black Panthers are, but it was, maybe it's still a movement, an African-American movement of some sort it was very popular in the 80s and 90s. So yes, housekeeping. All right, well, that's got to be interesting. I'm sure you find a lot of stuff. Paul, Amazon, I'm sure you go to a lot of interesting homes this time of year with all the Halloween decorations outside. I'd like to know where my guest is, so I'm going to pop on over here. Hi. Okay, we're on. I'm just going to resend him the link to join, because sometimes some people Lou's very smart, but let's just see if he joined this link here. Okay, to join me. There you go. Okay, that's it. Nope. I think that's it. Anyway, everyone says that this is the best time of the year to travel. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the cold weather. It could be 80 degrees outside and I have the heater on, right? So this year at the gathering, I was rooming with Haley and Al, but it was really hot. But they knew the AC could not be full blast, And there are times when I end up rooming alone and I put the heater on, even if it's 80 degrees, because it's not as hot as people think it is, and you have to understand, when you're dealing with smaller people, I don't have a shit ton of body fat, and I'm not big boned. Is that bitchy to say? Yeah, fuck it. I don't care. Actually, let me see. Let me check in my bag and see if I have any fucks to give. No, I don't. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. So smaller people, they don't have the body fat. They're not big boned enough to carry, to take in all the cold air, unfortunately. Or fortunately, whatever you want to say. So anyway, getting back to this. So XPW wrestling. And yes, I have my thumbs, by the way. See? Everyone, is different when it comes to working with companies. Weather made for a bumpkin. Yeah, I guess so. I'm a bumpkin or not. I don't think I'm a bumpkin, but yeah, bumpkins are from the countryside. Anyway, so as I was saying, so a lot of people understand, with XPW when it first started back in the 90s, what had happened was I had been put over to, Rob had known the Dudleys, and it was the Dudley boys, Bubba Dudley, that was in contact with Rob Black. I guess he might have just been a fan of whatever they were doing at the time with Extreme Associates. And that's how I'd gotten into ECW. I don't know what the alleged working relationship was supposed to be with Rob and Paul Heyman, but it didn't happen. But they did ask me a bunch of questions of how things were run backstage. And, you know, when you're there working on a show, that's like the last thing you do is you don't really pay attention to how someone's running the business end of things all the time. You just can't, because you're a performer. You're supposed to be doing this and that and getting all this other stuff ready. Fine. So, great. So fast forward to maybe like 3 months later, 4 months later, Rob decides to form Extreme Pro Wrestling, which was supposed to be ECW on steroids. I don't think the West Coast had a lot of live extreme wrestling shows at the time, which they didn't. So that's what that was supposed to be. And he started coming up with characters similar to what ECW had. He had the West, the West Side Niggers, and that was the name of the team. I'm not being racist. That is what it was called. I'm sorry. It was the West Side Niggers. All right. Okay. NIGG, whatever. So that was like their version of the original Gangsters. Then you had White Trash Johnny Webb. Missy Hyatt was managing him, and that was like their version of Sandman, like the low rent version, super low rent. Like I heard that guy's living out of his car. Yes. And actually, someone just reminded me to go ahead and pop up Lou's banner on the bottom. That's his YouTube station because he just started it. Then there were like all these things they were trying to do. So, you know, working then, I was on the adult film side of things for Rob at the time, and I was already training wrestling on my own. I was trained by an original Glow Girl. Then I was training with Mondo Guerrero because I actually grew up watching wrestling. Like my first WrestleMania was at Skydome in Toronto. It was the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. And I was discussing this with someone earlier on the phone, and it was making a joke about it. Like, oh, was his face paint black and white? No, dickweed. Okay. It was maybe all you had was a black and white TV. All right. But some people had color, and some people remember the Ultimate Warrior had neon makeup on. So anyway, so it was definitely something I wanted to do and pursue. And then I just, I just quit working for Rob like cold turkey. I just didn't show up to a porn shoot one day. I was just getting sick of it. Then he was like, one thing I've noticed with him, he's smart, but at some point when like the ego gets going, that's when things start going down. And I don't know like what happened in this decline of XPW. I don't know what it was. Definitely, I think it was the Doors, perhaps, what they could have been making potentially versus what they were spending. It's any number of things. So let's just see where Lou is. I'm going to call him on the phone. Hang on. It's not really usual for a guest to be this late. Okay. Okay, so we had, I'll keep going. So we had Nicole Bass working with us. We had, actually, now that I think about it, that was the first faction I ever did really manage in wrestling. It was Nicole Bass, Jake Lawless, Damian Steele. I forgot what the faction was called. I don't know if Paul Corbin would remember that. This is like one of those things, someone who actually watched it, The Hierarchy. There you go. Yeah, The Hierarchy. So that was my first time. And hey, Real Juggalo, how are you? Whoop, whoop. I don't have Faygo. Like I had espresso earlier, then now I'm drinking this. It's for my skin and stuff like that. It's this, you guys wouldn't know what it's like to like get older and you got to drink this stuff so you actually look good. I'm excited about, but anyway, so we're getting back to the whole toxicity. So when you go from somewhere from XPW to like JCW, it's like a full 360, okay? So when XPW first started, and it was this whole thing Rob was thinking of, it was fun because people were hot for the shows. This is what they wanted to see. And I had no idea about the sliminess going on. I mean, go figure, a porn company, sliminess. Okay, yeah. I'd quit. I'd gone straight to ECW, and I was working for Jerry Lawler at Memphis Championship Wrestling. That's one thing people don't know. In fact, that is when I first started using a Singapore cane, because I managed Tay Crush, Ron Killings, and he had a Singapore cane there. So that's what we were doing. I was working for them and doing ECW. And let me tell you, like, it was, okay, people could sit here and say, yeah, well, you know, you're probably better off doing adult. But you know what? Actually, no, because, okay, yeah, the money might have been better there, but guess what? Who gives a fuck? Like, that stuff was so meaningless and boring. And I think the best decision I ever made was leaving. And I know Lou's going to chime in on this, because I'm sure he too had some type of dealings with other people, Rob, around him. Where the fuck is this guy? Anyway, so whatever it is, it's just, you know, when you have people running a company a certain way, like, and it wasn't all negative what happened there, right? So when you think, like, when XPW, like, I lost track of Rob. I just, like, disconnected him. When I disconnect from people, it means, like, you've done something to just piss me off. Like, don't approach me about it. Like, if I see you down the line, I may say hi, I may not, but let's just go forward and, like, don't talk. Fine. So moving along, I went ahead and was living my life perfectly fine. Hey Jamal, how are you? So then, Army experience, lots of toxicity. People spoke of it, but it was normalized. Exactly. Like, I have friends that were in the Army and told me stories. Like, I don't know if anything in that, what was that movie with Tom Cruise where he was in the military? Does anyone remember that? Was that, just, it's at the tip of my tongue. What is the Tom Cruise movie where he was on some sort of trial for was it Saving Private Ryan? Where he's on trial for giving someone, whatever that's called, a red something or another. Did you order a code, whatever it was, on another member? So anyway, A Few Good Men, there you go, yeah. So that's kind of like the situation, right? So, you know, a few good things came out of my relationship with XPW. Okay. They had the reboot or the relaunch. And, you know, I thought it was kind of cool, you know, see how Rob is these days, what's going on. And he relaunched the company in Rochester after he got out of jail. And we'll go back to the whole thumb incident. Yep. Everyone loves Pondo. And that's another way, you know, this is where I'm going to go with this, like all the positive stuff that came out of it this time. So it wasn't all negative. I ended up getting to be back in the ring again. And at first, like, in Rob's defense, when they did California, he didn't really know what they were going to do with me. And I think that Necro Butcher could back up the story because he told me what happened. Then it came to Halloween from Hell, and he still wasn't sure. Necro had allegedly called him and asked him, you know, what do you have planned for me? And Rob wasn't sure. Then Necro Butcher came up with this whole idea. He's like, why don't you put me with one of the girls? Put me with Jasmine. So that's how that whole thing happened. And, you know, we became very good friends. I met Pondo, and because of Pondo, I ended up going to Japan a few times to work for Big Japan Wrestling, which is not, a lot of managers can't say that. So I was probably one of the few ones that had that opportunity. So that happened. But along the way, like, I just feel as though, okay, so I got to meet people like Schlack. I got to meet people like Lou, Big Joe, all those guys, and, you know, reconnect with that whole world, which I'm very grateful for. And now that I think about it, like, as I'm speaking, I feel like I'm in a therapy session almost, but none of you guys are getting paid for it. I feel as though if Rob didn't have, like, if it wasn't for Rob introducing me to the Dudleys, then I would not have gotten into ECW. And if that didn't happen, then I would not be where I am now with JCW. I think, you know, if he didn't relaunch and put me back into that world, I wouldn't be here now working for JCW, if that makes sense. So I'm really grateful for that because I've always liked Insane Clown Posse. My first introduction to them was the Riddle Box. Actually, no, it was the Great Malenko. And it all worked out in the end because it was my first gathering this year and it was one of the best times ever. Very wild, very different, and it's been great so far. So I have no, complaints. But now getting back to this whole, when we go back to the whole XPW thing, when we talk about toxic, there was no problem with the wrestlers there. There was one female talent there that was a problem, who came in and she was just very sloppy, and I could tell like she left in time, thank God. And it wasn't Lindsay Snow, by the way. It wasn't Sage. It wasn't Mother Endless or any of those girls. Those were all. It wasn't Lou Dark. Those girls were super cool. It was someone else that came in for a few times, and she was dating one of the wrestlers, and that's the only reason we were nice to her. Like, if he wasn't dating her, there'd have been no reason. But slowly but surely, when Rob started gaining traction, and this is the way I saw it, it feels as though he used his podcast. And there's one other person that worked there for a while, it was probably as long as I did, who said the same thing. It was the podcast that was the downfall. Because he'd get on there and do shit, right? So letting in marks from the outside come in to do stuff for your company, taking down company people like with their stupid memes was not cool. It just shows a level of disrespect. And that was the reason I'd left. But then having some porn chick that never was, who just really did nothing with her life. Like, it was his wife at the time. I don't know if they're still married, but whatever. It's like you let her like get in on this instead of running your mouth. Learn how to wrestle and take bumps. That's probably the better way to spend your time. That didn't happen, right? So fast forward to, I take things seriously. If somebody's going to harm me or like dent my way to make money, I will go after you. I'll get a lawyer. I'll do what I have to. I'll sue. I don't give a fuck, and it kind of went in that direction. So then here we go. This is where we get into the whole thing with the thumbs. Okay. This is where it gets really good. So back in 90 something, there was that alleged incident of Rob being linked to that thing with the Messiah with his thumbs getting chopped off. It's alleged that he was linked to it. So then you have Rob's girlfriend or wife or ring rat, whatever it was, going on her social media, like threatening to have my thumbs chopped off if I called a lawyer. Then one of them went to a friend saying I should watch my thumbs, but I still have them. Here's the very funny part. This is like the kicker, and I was waiting for Lou to discuss this, but I could say it now. I went ahead and filed a police report, and the officer or the detective that was on it came back to me like about 2 months ago, because that's a pretty serious threat, and a few things happened after that. Apparently, allegedly, someone had spoken to the cops prior to me and had allegedly worked at Extreme Associates at some point, allegedly. And this person allegedly claimed that there was someone that worked there who arranged for this whole shindig with Billy Welsh, Messiah. This is all alleged. We don't know if it's true, if it's not true. It's alleged, right? So that's what I got out of my conversation with the detective after I placed that report. But when you have someone like that has nothing but money and time on their hands and ego, that's what people do. They do stupid things. Allegedly, they do stupid things. It's not in stone, but it's alleged. So, you never know. So let's see where Lou is, because I have no idea if this guy knows what's going on. Because I've never had anyone like not show. And Lou is very good about these things. Unless he's out partying. Unless he got hit on the head too much this time. Okay, so where are you? Okay, I do know it's like 1:30 in the morning there, but it doesn't make a difference. or like 1 a.m. in the morning, but still. So then we were going to talk about the different territories in the UK for wrestling. Hi, Romano. How are you? I don't even know who this is. Is this who I think it is? Hold on. Is this someone normal? Let's see. Hi, Romano. So where are you from? Oh, okay. Well, then you're someone normal. Okay, so you're not a weirdo. Okay, thank God. I'm getting very, very like not on edge, but I'm getting very particular these days. Okay, and I'm sorry YouTube didn't inform you. Anyway, so we were going to talk about wrestling territories in the UK. It's kind of like, it's obviously it's not as big as the USA, because USA, obviously there are a shit ton of territories. So you have Scotland. So Scotland was one thing. That was a really good, there was a really good company there called Bleeding Gums Wrestling. You know, something happened, whatever, but it wasn't the promoter's fault. But that was one of the better promotions going on. Then you have like Northern England and Mid England. You have like Rise UK, and there are other smaller promotions. Valor Wrestling, they run Scotland as well. So, and then it's also Kumite Wrestling, Kumite, Kumite, Kumite. I forgot how it's pronounced, but anyway, that's the other one. CXW, so Championship Extreme Wrestling, and I worked last year. I don't know if it was their first show or second show, but they have a really good crowd. But the promoters there seem to like work together more as friends, like business friends, and people there seem to actually grasp a concept of helping one another out. That's Lou's thing on the bottom, his YouTube. But that's what they do, is they tend to help each other out and like run collaborative shows. You don't have people trying to get your show canceled. You don't have talent calling to have a show shut down, because everyone works with everyone. And one thing I did notice about working over there is shows actually get sold out. Like shows actually do well. One thing about Bleeding Gums, when Andrew had the company, when Andrew was running shows, he'd do double headers, but he would take really good care of the talent. Like the one double header I worked on, there was like this huge spread of like all these foods. There were like little spreads. There was carrots. There was little slider sandwiches or slider hamburgers. What's the other thing? This sausage rolls. Little sweet things, little chocolates. So it was really good, but he took care of his talent. And even on his regular shows, you'd always have something to drink and there'd be food, but it says a lot about indie wrestling there. They take good care of the talent. Championship Extreme Wrestling, they're known for sausages. So there's this whole big thing with sausages there in the back. They didn't charge me for it, thank God. And of course I had my glass of wine. But thing is, people there are hot. Like it's a very hot crowd overseas. I think in the USA, and anyone could say anything they want to about this, I feel that in the States, in specific territories, and this is excluding GCW and JCW, of course, and Loco, I feel as though sometimes people like get spoiled. Like it's too many shows going on, like too many, like let's say Pondo's in town doing a show for this really big company, then a smaller company uses him. No one's really going to go. They're going to go to the bigger show. That's just my thought and theory on it. I mean, I could be wrong. What do I know? But it's like a big thing over there. And here, you know, now with wrestling, and what's up with WrestleMania, right? So $850 for a nosebleed seat. Then let's say you want to go to WrestleCon. That's like you're going to spend another few $100 there. Then you want food, hotel, transportation. That's close to like $2,000-$3,000 per person just to go in and enjoy a show. So I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where that's going to go. But they're saying they're going to start doing WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. So I know there are a lot of wrestling fans there and surrounding areas. Would people actually go to Saudi Arabia to watch WrestleMania? That's the question, you know? So I have no idea where Lou is. I think he ended up sleeping in. I'm just going through his Instagram stories. Here we go. 4 hours ago, 3 hours, 2 hours. Okay, so he was on 2 hours ago, so I don't know where he is. But regardless, that's his YouTube, at Big Lou Nixon. The deal is with YouTube, I think like if you don't get 1,000 subscribers, you don't have the opportunity to be on the brand platform, or the opportunity to make money. Okay, so hold on a second. Someone's saying call Missy Hyatt. All right, let's call Missy Hyatt. Let's see. Hold on a second. I think legally I have to tell her we're on a show. Hold on, because she's going to be relaunching Wrestling Vixens, which I think is really cool. Hold on. How do you do this? Where do you find the contacts? Oh, Missy, Missy Hyatt. Okay, hold on. Oh God, I'm gonna get yelled at. She probably won't answer. She's probably sleeping. She has like a normal life. Fuck. Missy, don't answer. Okay. But anyway, she's relaunching Wrestling Vixens. I'm going to put the ringer on in case she decides to call me back, because she does that sometimes. I have this thing where I don't leave messages for people. I just call, and if I get your voicemail, I get your voicemail. That's it. What are people's thoughts anyway on WrestleMania? Like, I'm just curious, because personally, it's something that I'm interested in. That's all. But I'm glad I have my thumbs, by the way. Yeah, I just think it's too much, and they're making it hard to for the average person. You know, they're just making it hard for the average fan to come down to Vegas or go to Saudi Arabia and watch a show. And I get it. I don't know if a lot of you think that TKO has a lot to do with this, because I think with TKO taking it over, it's become so much more corporate than what it was before. You know? And maybe that's something that, you know, people don't really think about. So it's a big corporation that took it over. It's big money. Let's see. Here we go. Let's look at the comments in the chat. Extraneous. WrestleMania was a cultural experience in the 80s, and TKO doesn't want average Joes. It wants folks with deep pockets. Okay, that's possible, yeah. And by the way, Kevin Nash had gone on Twitter or one of his social media saying that now that TKO took over, they don't see as much money or royalties from sales. So are they pushing the younger talent and not pushing, you know, the classics and the legends? Are they pushing their stuff more? Like, I haven't been on the website in forever, but that could be something. Or maybe they're taking a bigger cut. Let's see. John Jay. I just watched Ric Flair's Kid. That's about it. It's too expensive. Who is Ric Flair's Kid? I totally forgot. Okay, it's too long. 2 nights is too much. Michael Doherty says it needs to come back to New York. Yeah. Not the same WWE that I was growing up in. I prefer the 80s and 90s, Attitude Era. I think a lot of people like the Attitude Era. Another person I thought was really talented was Vince Russo when he was at WCW. I know that, Charlotte Flair. Okay, yeah. This guy. Remember when wrestling was a poor man's sport? Yeah. I mean, it's something people would go to, like when you had the territories once again, like in the Deep South or the Midwest and so forth. And yeah, they are pushing younger talent. Maybe that's why the older talent's merchandise isn't selling. But I would think, okay, this is just me. I would think that if legends sell and iconic people sell, that's what you're going to do. Like, you got to push their stuff too if you're all about making money, which is what TKO is. TKO is trying to pay for it. They have to pay back billions to the WWE and the UFC, probably. You know, someone once told me a really funny story about that. They just, like a while ago, they said that there was a bigger company that was going to take over the WWE. And, you know, look at what happened. You know, whoever would have guessed. It did happen. But anyway, so I hope I wasn't too negative or nasty about the truth about working at XPW. Lou obviously was sleeping or forgot or didn't set his alarm, which is fine. We haven't had too many no-shows on the show, only one other time. And I did not ask her back on the show because when girls are flaky, they're just fucking flaky, and I don't deal with that. Every year they have to make cuts on talent, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. But it's good to be in a good working environment. One thing I could say about JCW is we get fed. Even though it's pizza sometimes, there's still food, but It's good pizza, but at least he feeds his talent. You work at XPW, there was no, like, they wouldn't, like, they just wouldn't give you anything. I think the photographer, Slava, the camera guy, he was the one who'd bring like bananas and water for the talent, which is really sweet of him. And he did such a good job of the photos that it didn't, he put such a great effort out. I could say one thing about XPW is we had the best promo photographer ever. And, that's one thing, like Rob gave people a chance. I feel as though even back in the Extreme Associates days, his office was like the welfare office. Because he was just giving people jobs that weren't really necessarily useful or served a purpose, but just so they could do something, and yeah, so he would just give people jobs, which I think was great. So then this is where it's going to lead me to. It always leads to somewhere with me. Here we go. As long as the company takes care of people, folks on the outside can't say much. It sucks, but companies treating people like shit, using and abusing them. Yeah, that's totally not JCW at all. Nope. It's probably because they have such a successful, record label with bands and stuff. They get how it works with talent. Plus, you could honestly tell that Violent J has a love for wrestling, which is super important. And this was definitely like my second and final run at XPW. It's somewhere I would never want to go, especially after some little ring rat threatening, to have my thumbs cut off. So let's go there. So if someone threatens you, do you go to the police? And I'll say this, like back then, it was run really fun at first when Extreme first came out with all the trips and all the money and everything. And, Rob literally let me get away with murder. Not literal murder, but just what some people would say is murder. So he was a good boss at one point. I would say back when, and when he first built his company. But then things just started to get in the way. Then when you bring in non-wrestling chicks into wrestling, specifically porn chicks, and this is going to sound hypocritical, but I don't really consider myself a porn chick because I was in the business for 2.5 years. And, I just never had the mentality. Like, there's one thing you learn about me. I don't know. It's not that I didn't get along with anyone. I just didn't have anything to talk to them about. So plus I grew up watching wrestling and was a huge fan. So it was, like then it was a family, Psychopathic is a family. Here we go. Here's Extraneous says, I have a lot of respect for Jump Steady. I like everyone that works there. DJ Clay, Wacko, like the camera crew, everyone, ring crew, like everyone does something there. But like Rob was pulling from his porn chicks. So he had like Jessica Darling working, which I thought was great. She looked very cute in her little Daisy Dukes bouncing around. It's actually where I met Missy Hyatt, was at XPW. She was the first manager I became friends with, and she was on XPW's show in California, and we became friends. Like, she's still my oldest friend in the business. And no, I'm not doing wrestling vixens, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. So then we just remained friends, and it's just weird how the whole thing transpired. Just when the company got bigger, the ego got bigger, then he was drawing in this girl to do stuff and that girl, and nobody really knew how to work. And that's the first thing. Like I always say, managers should learn how to work so you know what spots look like. And they've renamed certain moves in wrestling, I think, because there's sometimes when I hear matches being called, I'm like, wait, what is that? Oh, okay. You want to know where your cues are and to pay attention, Hold on. So Jim, sorry. I'm just looking here. I'm being lazy tonight. Why did she get mad at you? Who is this girl? She's like a nobody from nowhere. She's like a porn chick that never was. And that's all. And, so when people get punch drunk on power, they do stupid shit and say stupid shit. And that's all that happens, It's just the way of the world with some people. They want to do dumb stuff. I'm messaging Lou Nixon one last time. Sorry Missy Hyatt was like sleeping or whatever. I think she's probably going to message me now. What are you doing? Okay. No. Okay. She goes to sleep early. She's like me. We all go to sleep early after a certain age. But 80s wrestling era was great. Like, here's the thing. I think like today, okay, so first of all, this is the observation I made with Tara Zepp when she came onto my show. Tara's a very pretty exotic girl. I know some of you remember her. She was the brunette from Canada. And like one thing I noticed, like you go to WWE, those girls all look the same. ECW, no two girls looked alike. Everyone looked different. You go to like JCW, none of the girls look the same. It gives off that whole vibe where there's like something for everyone. When you have the wrestlers, like a lot of these girls at some of these companies, they look the same, just with different hair color or different hairstyles. Like I can't tell them apart. Back in that era, I think people were allowed to be sexy. Nowadays, you know, it's kind of frowned upon. But yet you have, you know, these girls with their asses sticking out wrestling, which is totally fine, but you can't have, you know, certain things or say certain things, which just doesn't make any sense. Here's Paul Corbin. Yes, she did a great job in CCW with Sage. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's people, like girls look different. Like some of these promotions, you just go to WWE, it's just very cookie cutter. It's the long hair with the curls, or the fake long hair and the curls, the lips made of filler, shit like that, you know? Like one thing I could say, I know people got down on Tessa Blanchard for whatever happened, but I actually like Tessa. I worked with her at XPW, and I thought she was a great talent to be around. And you know, people have their bad days sometimes with things, and, you know, you just got to let shit go sometimes. Okay, so Lou, the fuck. So publicly owned companies or the sponsors won't let anything out of the norm. Well, whatever. I wonder what happened in the Attitude Era that they were allowed to do things out of the norm, you know? So I think Lou might have had his times confused, or he is sleeping. So I've messaged him. I called him. I called Missy Hyatt because one person asked me to. She's the only female talent I will actually pick up a phone and call because we're friends like that. And I used to prank Missy when I was younger. I played a really fucked up joke on her years ago, but I'm not going to discuss it now, if that makes any sense. So yeah. Anyway, moving right along. So that was the truth about working with XPWs. Like they didn't really have storylines. And I think like one thing that really, like you can't tell people how to run their business, like who to hire and who not to hire. But I will say this, Willie Mack, the chocolate juggalo, he's a really talented wrestler. And I think one thing that really put me off was him dropping the TV title to some girl who couldn't even wrestle. And I think that was my biggest problem at that time, was when, like, that's one thing. It's like, wait a second. Oh, because it's Rob's wife. Okay, so wait, she can't wrestle and he's dropping a belt to her. Like, how does this make sense? Like, in what alternate reality does this make sense? And I thought it was great to have Willie working there because he brought legitimacy to a TV title. After I left the company, they then put the heavyweight title on Necro Butcher. And this goes back like a full 360. When XPW first opened up, I was the one that managed their first heavyweight champ. So it came back in this like weird, like 360 circle. And yes, Paul, that rat, that's who it was. I guess Willie having to job out to someone like that was just, it's sickening, you know, and he's really one of the more talented wrestlers I've worked with. And he's funny, you know, and he's definitely one of those people that's also into the whole, like, he's another one. He's another juggalo. That's why they call him the chocolate juggalo. Yeah. I don't know. I still haven't figured out a lot of things. Like, I figured out enough with juggalo culture. It's another subculture, which is right up my alley. But I will say this. One thing I enjoyed at the gathering was just everyone with a sense of camaraderie. And I went up on YouTube to look around at little videos and stuff. Some people like pull other people's videos, like juggalos that were actually putting things up from the gathering. and then treat them like circus animals, which they're not. You know, it's all humans, and it's all people just having a good time in their environment. The annoying animals are like the dick faces. Oh, look who it is. Missy, hi, you're on speaker, and I'm on my live stream.
Okay.
How are you? Everyone say hi to Missy Hyatt. They're saying hi. Listen, now, my guest didn't come on, but I got to ask you, okay? Some guy requested that I called you. Okay, are you relaunching Wrestling Vixens?
No, I don't know where everybody's getting that idea from. I put up a Wrestling Vixens video, and I just said, you know, something about Wrestling Vixens will be coming back, but that's the old stuff.
Okay, I thought you were shooting new content. So you're not shooting new content. Come on, shoot new content.
Years old.
I don't give a shit. How old are you?
I'll be 62 in a couple of days.
That's good, right before my birthday. Okay, good. So no, you should shoot new content. Guys want to see you like shoot new content.
Nah.
Come on, won't you take your boobs out and take photos?
No. I just wash my face and everything. You're not getting no boob pictures.
Okay, well then, all right, fine then, if you want to be such a prude.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, you work with me at XPW. That's where we met. What was your first impression of Rob Black?
That he was a Paulie wannabe.
Okay, that he was a Paul Heyman wannabe. Do you think he looked like a used car salesman?
No, he looked like a porn producer.
He did? Ew.
Yeah.
Okay, gross. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, here's a good question, because I had my first impression of you. What was your first impression of me when you met me?
I just thought you were beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were too.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were very beautiful.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you're the first manager I met in pro wrestling.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we have to catfight one more time, so hopefully we get you somewhere at JCW or something. Oh, some guys. Oh, what do you? Missy didn't know his wife. She just knew Janet, the first one. How long did you stay at XPW?
Not very long, like 6 months maybe.
Did you get paid?
Yeah. I was always paid.
Did he ask you to do a porn?
No.
Okay.
Never did.
Oh, and then, well, Missy doesn't know his wife, John. She didn't do the second. What did you think of his wife, the first one?
The blonde one?
Yeah.
Well, she was nice, but then she talked bad shit about me behind my back. I thought she was cool.
Okay.
And then she talked bad shit about me. I was like, I don't know why she did that.
Because she was jealous and, like, you knew your job. But I just have to say, like, I've learned a lot from you watching you growing up. So I just wanted to tell you that. Not that I really grew up.
I know, you never grew up. You're never going to grow up.
Well, because I used to, you know that I'm the one that made the prank call to you with the about the Iron Sheik. Like, you know.
Yes, of course I did.
So, you know, I pranked the Iron Sheik as you saying, like, hey, when are we going to hook up?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to let you know that was me. Okay. All right.
That's okay. That's okay. I've done many prank calls in my lifetime, so that's okay.
Well, the worst one was when you gave Gene Simmons my phone number. I just have to let you know that because I had some creepy old Jewish guy with a fucking beaver hair whatever toupee harassing me till 5 a.m. on my phone. So I just want to let you know.
Good. You had to drive from Tampa to Miami.
Okay, so then you receipted me on that end. Okay, so guys, Missy got her receipt on me. Because I had to drive from Tampa to Miami, telling her that I met, that I was working,
You did a show for me.
that I had a show for her, and I didn't have anyone to work with. And Missy drove from Tampa with her hair wet in the car still to Miami, and I was not booked on any show. There was no show. But you got me back, good girl. It's okay.
Yeah, of course. No, you're getting another one back for that one, though.
Fuck. Paul says he remembers a catfight with Missy and Chastity. What was Chastity? Oh yeah, I wonder whatever happened to her.
I don't know.
She looks like she's like a basketball player's girlfriend or something, or like a football player's girlfriend. The BBC.
Hey, let me ask you something. When you do that blue stuff in your tummy, do you go 5 days on, 2 days off?
Oh, she's talking about the copper injections, guys, that I use for my hair and skin. I do 5 days on, 2 days off. Yeah, that's what I do. Are you doing it?
Yeah.
You are? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're going to have such gorgeous hair and skin now.
I hope so.
You could do that. And you mix it with BP 157, TB 500.
Yeah, I do that in my shoulders.
So guys,
put that in my stomach.
So we're talking about this needle here. And Missy and I put a little bit of like this much in of this blue stuff called GHKCU for our hair and our skin.
You do 10 units.
Yep, I do like 30.
Oh, okay.
And I do it on an
30?
empty stomach. Well, that's because
Oh
I've been
my
doing
God.
Well, I do it on an empty stomach too. And then I taste metal in my system.
Oh God.
The things we
you're
do for,
nuts.
I know, crazy.
Things we do for beauty.
You hear that, guys? But anyway, thank you for picking up my call. I love you.
Anytime, I will.
I'll
I
see.
love you.
I'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right. So everyone's wondering about the blue stuff. So there's this stuff called GHKCU, and okay, so that's for your hair. It's called copper, and just so you know what we put ourselves through, we stick a needle like this big. I don't know if you could see it. Anyway, in our stomachs every morning with it, like this much of it, just for our hair and skin to look good. Yeah, I know it's not a very juggalo thing to do. It's just one of those things you want to do to stay young so you can continue enjoying the gathering and enjoying all the rides at the gathering and enjoying watching ICP and doing Fago Armageddon, getting involved in Fago Armageddon, and drinking more Fago. Because Fago is the best drink in the world, I think. But anyway, so it's obvious Lou Nixon, he's like nowhere to be found, and I'm very sorry because everyone knows I'm very good about delivering guests when I say I will have them. We had John Wayne Bobbitt on those times that I said. Yes, so, but I've been good about it. So anyway, next week there will not be extraneous. I'm scared of needles, okay? Like, this needle is so tiny. Look, it's the tiniest needle, and it's skinny, and I get scared of it. But I just pinch my stomach, and I put it there. And I use NAD as well. Like, that's a much bigger needle. I did have some new photos. I will put them out in another month. Someone, I'm not going to say a magazine, has approached me to do something, but I'm probably not going to do it. Because I just think that some things, you just leave certain places. But I don't know, like I have to think about the whole thing. Where I would like to do a photo shoot, though, is the Clown Hotel in Vegas. So I'm probably going to call up Slava Siderman to see if we could take photos at the Clown Hotel. I want to do, one thing I have yet to do is Juggalo makeup. And that's, I know that this is my last run in wrestling, and I'm glad it's at JCW because I think of Juggalo Championship Wrestling and Juggalo, and I think of like a really important time, the 90s, a fun time. And, I'm grateful when you do have everyone coming to the shows. I love it when the Juggalos come out with their faces painted, and, I know that they're there to support the product. And it's never been a bad experience, except my first night? No, my second night working, I got grabbed and groped by a bunch of really hot girls in the front row, which was fine. I'm sure a lot of guys would have wished to have been in that. But yeah, it is my last run in wrestling, and it's been fun so far. And then I'll just pick back up my one-woman show after. In the meantime, I'm still finishing it up, and I'll take it back to the stage. I'll take it back to the stage next year as well. And who says I can't do both? Let's see. Yeah, Lunacy is amazing fun. And there is something for everyone. There are all kinds of wrestlers there. And everyone is so talented. I like Mosh Pit Mike's gimmicks that he does. And all the girls that wrestle there, like Haley. I love Haley's braids. They're like so much fun to just kind of play with. Al is amazing too. Like, they're all talented people. Even when we get the local talent that come in, some of the girls that have worked have been really cool. Working with Too Tough Tony, God, who else? Kerry Morton, And it's just nice how everyone just comes together as the camaraderie to actually work together and put together a really good show. And Joe, of course, giving people a chance. So I'm grateful to the backseats for that. And again, Madman Pondo, because he spoke about me to Jay as well. And, you know, Pondo and I go back a ways from Japan when they brought me there. And it's always a risk when you bring in a manager, because at some point you don't know like what's going to happen. But you just got to roll with it, you know, and just do this, and just, that's how life is. But anyway, there is Lou's YouTube. I did promise that I'll still plug this. So go join his YouTube at Big Lou Nixon. At some point you should come to JCW, Rob. I don't know what dates we have coming up, but let me know if there's a show. And it's very, I feel very honored and privileged to have seen ICP as many times as I have. I have to say one thing, though, and don't take it the wrong way, especially to the juggalos, okay? When they have, when you guys just start jumping the stage, it's like fucking bedlam, okay? It's like everyone's just jumping up and jumping up. It's so crazy. But the one thing I notice is nobody gets hurt, which I think is awesome, because I used to go crowd surfing and stuff in the 90s when I went to see Overkill or Wasp or whatever. I remember crowd surfing at a Testament show. It was Testament and Overkill. And like when you fall, people help you up. It's almost the same camaraderie as metalheads with juggalos. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think I'm onto something. Extraneous. I'm mad impressed at how you walk around the ring in heels. Yeah, thank you. I like it. It's fun. Those aren't high heels. Those are like 1-inch heels. They're like, I walk around in heels in my sleep, I think. I think like when I was 14, I started wearing like 2-inch heels, 3-inch heels to go out in, because that's what you do in Europe. That's what women do. They wear, you know, that's how you're raised. Thank you, Paul. I love the St. Clair Monster Corporation as well. It's fun. Anyway, kids, so sorry to disappoint. Next week, there is no live stream. The week after, there's a live stream. And the week after that. But Mondays, when I am traveling, there is no stream. But I will see you, for those of you who are coming to the Boise, Idaho show next Monday, I will see you there. Yes, it is true. You have to worry about juggalos getting hit with stuff. With Fago. I like Diet Fago because it doesn't get in your hair. It doesn't really like leave your hair sticky. It's fun. Anyway, night, kids. And don't forget, subscribe to Lou's YouTube. It sucks that he couldn't make it on. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure it could have just been a timing thing. Here we go. Is that him? Yep. But yeah, he and I have a great history together because I work with him in the UK as well, managing him. But whatever it is, just please make sure you subscribe to his page, youtube.com/@BigLouNixon. Subscribe, support, and all that good stuff. I will see you not next Monday, but the Monday after that. Be kind, be well, take care of yourselves, and most of all, stay frosty.